Mine is always your highest thought, your clearest word, your grandest feeling. Anything less is from another source. If it's not your highest and best, it's not God. Keep in mind, this is the Church of Neale Donald Walsch. But I think there's a lot to be taken from it, and I do believe in God. I think we're going to be having a lot more discussions on that. But that is hard to discern the meaning of, especially as we continue through this. Because largely I believe that each one is God. Especially when we're each having experiences on a day-to-day basis and learning new things, like what have you learned today? I mean, I just did these things like for the first time. I'm reading this book for the second time, but let's read page 5. Now the task of differentiation becomes easy, for it should not be difficult even for the beginning student to identify the highest and clearest and grandest for even the beginning student to identify the highest, clearest, and grandest. Yet will I give you these guidelines. The highest thought is always that thought which contains joy. The clearest words are those words which contain truth. The grandest feeling is that feeling which you call love. Joy, truth, love. These are intangible, and one always leads to the other. It matters not in which order they are placed. Joy, truth, love. So there's some things that don't vibrate as truth, but like this, you always know when something is vibrating as truth. And love and joy. Love is all you need. I think love is all three of these things. By the way, these are my dogs. I think you've seen Shiloh a lot of the video. Dorothy, I call her daughter Dottie. It's on the floor too. Reading book 1, page 5. Already feeling like it's coming through differently, but like the same. I'm glad that I'm starting over on book 1. Now I've read all 3 and come back to many parts of each one. But starting over at book 1 and reading through all of them with you, I think it's going to be better. Having with these guidelines determined which messages are mine and which have come from another source, the only question remaining is whether my message will be heeded. Most of my messages are not. Some because they seem too good to be true, others because they seem too difficult to follow, many because they are simply misunderstood, most because they are not received. My most powerful messenger is experience, and even this you ignore, especially this you ignore. Your world would not be in its present condition were you to have simply listened to your experience. The result of your not listening to your experience is that you keep reliving it over and over again. For my purpose will not be thwarted, nor my will be ignored. You will get the message sooner or later. I will not force you to, however. I will never coerce you, for I have given you a free will, the power to do as you choose. And I will never take that away from you, ever. And so I will continue sending you the same messages over and over again throughout the millennia and to whatever corner of the universe you occupy. Endlessly will I send you my messages until you have received them and held them close, calling them your own. If you call them your own, that'd be like your memories, your experience. God's message is your experience. Let's pin that down. Page 6. My messages will come in 100 forms at 1,000 moments across 1,000,000 years. You cannot miss them if you truly listen. You cannot ignore them once you truly heard. Thus will your communication begin in earnest, for in the past you have only talked to me, praying to me, interceding with me, beseeching me. Yet now can I talk back to you even as I am doing here. I think I need my pen. My pen's at the table. Across 1,000,000 years, at 1,000 moments, I mean, I'm gonna live like 100 years, isn't that right? It's kind of leading toward a belief of reincarnation, of like cycles of your own life. But if you have thoughts of experiences that you've never experienced, but you can like adopt that as your own experience. When you're like watching a video, it becomes your experience, and you can put your feelings and thoughts and beliefs into that experience. Say it's a war scenario. Now I can like put myself in that person's perspective, and it becomes my feelings, and I can somehow through these impressions have empathy and understand another's perspective. And you can really have all these experiences in your own lifetime. I'm not sure if that comes through. It's just some thoughts I'm having, I guess. How can I know this communication is from God? How do I know this is not my own imagination? What would be the difference? What would be the difference? Do you not see that I could just as easily work through your imagination as anything else? I will bring you the exact right thoughts. I'll bring you the exact right thoughts, words, or feelings at any given moment. Suited precisely to the purpose at hand, using one device or several. Thoughts, feelings, experiences. Different media or impressions. There's so many different ways. Words are the least of these. You will know these words are from me because you of your own accord have never spoken so clearly. Had you already spoken so clearly on these questions, you would not be asking them. You can feel the truth. It's like, I haven't come up with this truth. This isn't something, you know what's funny? You can recognize when something is a new experience. Like, I didn't have someone tell me this, but like now this thought is coming through. It's a new thought. And it has to, it feels like it is just given to you. To whom does God communicate, and are there special people? Are there special times? This guy's kind of funny sometimes. It's, that's what makes you have the paragraphs that are the questions, but then the answers, they feel unearthly and divine, and those inspirations come through more clear. And it's funny because really this is all penned with one hand. But the words are more concise and clear and conductive. They just come through a lot more than some of the other paragraphs. The questions seem a little bit redundant sometimes. All people are special, and all moments are golden. Reminds me of my sticker that we put on the wall at 890 East. enjoy these moments, for these moments are your life. Each moment is that experience, and that life is those experiences. There's no person and there is no time, one more special than another. Many people choose to believe that God communicates in special ways with only one special people. This removes the mass of the people from responsibility from hearing my message, much less receiving it, which is another matter, and allows them to take someone else's word for everything. You don't have to listen to me, for you are already decided that others have heard from me on every subject, and you have them to listen to. By listening to what other people think they heard me say, you don't have to think at all. We put these people up like they're receiving this message, but then we discredit our own experiences and thoughts and the things that we see that are profound in that moment. This is the biggest reason for most people turning from my messages on personal level. If you acknowledge that you're receiving my messages directly, then you are responsible for interpreting them. It is far safer and much easier to accept the interpretation of others, even others who have lived 2,000 years ago. I think we know who that is. Left out. Then seek to interpret the message you may very well be receiving in this moment now.